To be honest, I'm very excited because as you know in India, classic segment is doing very well, and we wanted to bring classic cruiser segment into it. And in classic cruiser segment, there is no other better bike than Speedmaster. India is very important for Triumph motorcycle, as I showed you today in the presentation. We have our own assembly plant in India, which shows our commitment to make quicker bikes at an affordable price point in India. Second, in terms of our network, the way we have expanded it in India, we are almost 15 networks strong. We have roughly around 4,500 plus customer base in India. And the product launches, in the last year alone, we have done 5 product launches. There's a 6th one in a row. So that shows about commitment in India. And as I showed you, India is becoming a big superbike market, and I think this market will eventually become one of the largest in the world. See, we roughly sold around 1,200 units last year. We expect to sell close to around 1,300 units this year. And within the classic range in our overall segment, around 45% of our portfolio is today classic. And it is the fastest growing segment in India apart from the adventure. See, India is just becoming a superbike large industry. I think there is a scope for every brand to grow as long as in this segment people want a differentiated product, people want reliability, people want an affordable price point, and people want a technology. As long as people are able to offer it, there is space for everybody to grow. There is a little bit of confusion in the mind of a consumer. Just to make it clear through you, I think I'm talking to you first. The CBUs in India come through 2 routes. Okay. One is through FTA, that is free trade agreement that you have with Thailand, and second come through rest of the world. So when you come through free trade agreement through Thailand, then the import duties are not there. So it's almost like a CKD costing. Right. When you go through a CBU through rest of the world, there were 2 categories, below 500cc and above 500cc. So there was 75% and 60%. That has been brought down to 50. Right. But if you look in India in the superbike segment, then the segment of the bikes which are big bikes, which are CBU, is very limited to 10-15% of the whole segment size. Right. Balance is already CKD. So Government of India, according to us, should have looked at assembly and done little bit of incentivization there, because when you have a CKD, you have an assembly, you invest in manpower, you invest in infrastructure, and your prices are very competitive. So to that extent, it should have been supported. But what we have seen is the bigger bike prices have been brought down, but they are still very expensive. So if you look in CBU big bikes, they are 20 lakh, 18 lakh, 30 lakh price build. They coming down by 10% doesn't make an effect. But in the entry level or where the CKDs really sit, where the 85% of the industry is there, it has gone up by 5.6%. So now this industry has been hit twice, one on GST when there was a 3% increase, now with this which is 5.67% increase. See, let's look at the industry first, because you should see the first step towards manufacturing is by doing assembly. Because when you assemble, you understand the country, you understand the skill sets available, you can search for vendors, and when your volume of your brand grows, then you can get into manufacturing. Right. But first step is to make assembly. I think the Government of India as a Make in India campaign should look about incentivizing the first segment, because it's a niche market. When it grows big, I'm sure eventually people will put plants, people will put manufacturing in India. But the first step, there should be some incentivization at least to do assembly in India.